Warning. Warning. Warning.
Okay, brothers and sisters and misses and misters, here's your daddy-o with the sounds to go. No shucking, no jiving, I'm telling you, your music's arriving.
Hey, everybody. I'm Largo, I think, and this is a lair. So welcome. My internet is a little wiggy tonight, so if I blink out, it's not you, it's me. But just in case that happens, I have backup. I have Will, the extraordinary host, co-host, good time buddy. We're going to have a beer one of these days.
I'm muted. I'm not anymore. Hi, how's it going, everyone?
Well,
today's a pretty special day.
Indeed.
With a very special guest, someone I adore. So
We've got lots of friends hanging out. We've got Ian Sweeney. Hello. Rolando is here. There's that pesky Wilhelm guy. I don't know about that. One of the best names in the interwebs, Pericles Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Balls, depending on your preference. Loving that.
I believe it's Dragon Ball Z, right? But yeah, a lot of people say balls.
Indeed. And Bill, I always get you two mixed up. You guys have rhyming names. So Bill from Weird Fantastic, nice to see you tonight. Epic Badger, hey, that's a familiar name. Ted Darklaw, nice to see you. And James from Ratface44 Reviews, good to see you.
Excellent.
Got a nice group hanging out, coming in the lounge. They got through the velvet rope. Eduardo's behaving tonight. So we have a guest that Will and I are familiar with from our Grind fam time. We've met him, I think, over at Grindhead Jim's Patreon and in the chats. And he's, another guy who's all over the interwebs and being a social butterfly. So without further ado, let me introduce the Epic Badger.
Hey.
Hello.
AKA Jesse or Jess. Do you prefer Jess? Or is that just when you're feeling casual?
Jesse's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
And you brought your little friend.
Yeah. He's a little mischievous tonight, so
Indeed.
I'm just going to try
a little frisky.
Yeah. I'm going to try to keep him away from the mic.
Now, is the Badger Epic? Is that his name, or does he have another call sign?
Who knows? I mean, it's whatever he decides at the moment. He just wakes up and screams. So, if he was a Pokemon, his name would just be ah.
That's why you have to keep copious amounts of bourbon in the house.
Yeah,
Badgers like bourbon. I have it on good authority. That's what Gordon tells me. My groundhog. So. Let's go down the This Is Your Life lane with the Epic Badger. We've put together a little slide here. Look at that
There he
face.
is.
It's
There
so
he is.
cute. I'm talking about Lucy, but you know, Jesse's not bad either. Beautiful countryside. Now, where was this taken?
So this is southeast Wyoming. So I lived for a long time in Laramie, Wyoming, which is the southeast corner, and this is the Medicine Bow National Forest. And I'm basically climbing up towards Medicine Bow Peak. So it's a
Okay.
really great view. You can see a good chunk of Wyoming down into the northern part of Colorado.
Nice. Yeah, that's a beautiful scene.
It's
That's one
about
thing.
13,000 feet once you get to the top, because Laramie sits at about 7,200. So you're already pretty high up, and then you do a bit of a climb.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a bit of a challenge for us flatlanders.
Yeah, I was saying Jesse's the only person I know that has to use those special instructions on the baking package for high altitude, right?
That's right.
You always see them, and I'm always like, I don't need that.
Those
Well-
don't work because those are meant for like 3,000 feet or something.
So
I
you
have
got
to
to
be
learn a little.
lower.
I was going to say you got to learn a little chemistry if you want to be a good cook in high altitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, well, we'll get to that. First, why a badger?
Why?
Why is the badger your spirit animal?
Because he's so much like me. So I would say the idea of the badger came about quite a few years ago when I was into gaming. I still am into gaming, but people create, online profiles. They need names, and for a while when I would play video games, Admiral would be my name. And then I was playing a game, Neverwinter Nights, which is a
Nice. Yeah, I love it.
yeah, Will
Is that-
knows that game. And
Yeah.
if you play as the cleric, I think one of your spell slots is you could summon a creature, and I summoned a badger.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
I've always liked badgers, but in the game, I always had a badger companion. And so as I was playing other games, other RTSs, I started to add Admiral Badger. And then it eventually just got shortened to Badger. And then that was my online persona for, that was high school on. So that's been my profile for a while. And I like the Badger. He likes to keep a roomy, comfortable den. He doesn't like it when people intrude in the den. He scrounges around for food because food is delicious. So, yeah, why not? Why not go with the
Yeah.
Badger?
Fair enough. There's definitely some parallels there. I can
We
I can
get
dig
each
it.
other.
Yeah. And as we were talking about, you are a man of many talents. Nature photography, toy photography, dog lover, baker, artist. We'll cover a few of those different aspects today as we pick your brain for some nuggets. But I love this. Great shot. Where was this one taken?
This is, I think it's called Hidden Lake, but it's just above Estes Park, Colorado. Estes
Okay.
Park is one of those ski towns that it's just tourism. That's basically its entire livelihood. We have a
Very
lot
cool.
of those out in Colorado and Wyoming. But it's a town where it's expensive to live, but
Ah.
people own those types of homes out there. But during the summer, tourists just come out there and go hiking all around it. But it's not too far from where I currently live. So
Very
I had a
nice.
Friday off, and so I decided to just go hike up there when there weren't too many people.
Just a quick shout out, Mr. Wonderful popping in. He's going to catch the replay. Thank you for dropping by. Ian Sweeney wants to know, did you ever play the Neverwinter Nights expansion?
I don't remember the expansion. I know that Neverwinter Nights, in addition to the base game, it had a couple of what were they called? There were like these small missions that you could play that were like mini stories,
Mhm.
and I played a couple of those, but I don't remember if there was an expansion, like an official full-on expansion.
Right. Well, according to
Yeah,
Ian, there were at least two that he played. I don't know if those were mini expansions or full expansions, but
I think there
Interesting.
was Neverwinter Nights 2, the proper game.
okay.
And I never played the second one. I only played the first and the little campaigns that went with it.
But the burning question is, considering where you have lived,
Mhm.
you ever go squatching? Got to go
No,
squatching.
the
think
story
I
of
see 'em.
Sasquatch, I think, is more popular in Northern California and Oregon. So
True.
and I'm from Northern California, but
There is something on the other side of that lake, but I don't want to offend anyone. If
that's
you
a
know
person.
Yeah. I don't think it's a squirrel.
And a chipmunk. I don't know if you saw that image. Because I have so many images, but there was a chipmunk that would not leave me alone. He was like right on my back.
Nice. Well, if you haven't gone squatching, it's something you should put on your bucket list just for the experience.
Is that different than just hiking and running into a hairy person?
Well, I don't know. I guess it just depends on which way you swing. It could be a fun evening or a terrifying experience. I don't know. Speaking of terrifying experiences, I can't imagine running into this critter and then taking him on a road trip without a story. This is who I call Gadorable.
Yep.
I don't know what his real name is, but he's just so darn cute.
That's the official name. I mean, it's stuck, so I've always gone with it.
Nice.
And that, I don't know why I was going on a road trip through northern Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and I was like, I want to take pictures like I usually do, but I want a focus for those images. And I just decided I'm going to take Adorable with me.
Nice. It works. I love when people put little Easter eggs in photos. You know, I've keep threatening to take Gordon here and go around and go to some of the ruins here in Guatemala and just have him posted in different spots. But you know, it's on my
the nice thing about Gadorable is his head fits 6-inch figure sizes.
Nice.
Like currently, he's got another helmet. He's got Dusty's helmet now.
Very cool.
Like that.
But it's a nice way to kind of store hats without, putting them in a box.
Very cool. Yeah, World of Made of Cardboard says Gadorable needs to travel too. Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
And Ted's saying, I watch Colorado Bigfoot on the YouTube. Finds all kinds of tree structures in the mountains. Interesting. I've been watching that guy who does the Missing 411? I can't remember. Name just escapes me, but he's been doing some investigations for years about hikers that go missing, some strange, experiences and trying to figure out what's going on out there. And he's touched on some of the Sasquatch Bigfoot stuff as well. So there's some interesting stuff out there on the interwebs about that. But I don't want to get us sidelined on squatching because that's a fun story for another day. Let's talk about art. We've got a very cool piece here. Homage to the great one. What inspired this? Just being stuck inside during inclement weather? Or?
Yeah. So it helps to understand me. It helps to know that I'm a very tactile person. I have to be using my hands. And that's not just me in general, but like if I'm in a classroom, I don't learn by just hearing. I need examples. I need to be doing, projects. When I'm at work, I want them to give me projects so I can get practice in.
Right.
So I like, growing up, I worked with my dad in his shop doing woodcraft. I've always been drawing. Actually, I pulled this out, but I have still all my childhood artwork. Just stuff I've drawn since I was a kid because I have to be doing something. I can't sit still very long. I'm trying to find some images here. Like
it's really cool that you still have it.
Yeah.
This old image of a pilot. Trying to find something else. Like a video game character. I did Yoshi. I don't matter how old I was. Yoshi trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it's cool that you've kept kind of a portfolio over the years.
Yeah, so I'm so tactile that like I need to be doing something. I can't sit still. And I'm not very good with television. I don't like watching television because I can't hold still long enough. If I say
it rots your brain, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if I'm listening to like podcasts and stuff, I have a 2-monitor setup. I'll be playing a video game while I'm listening to people on stream.
Multitasking. Nice.
Yeah. It's just how my brain works. So like in the winter, I can't really go I can't hike anywhere. I could do a little bit of snowshoeing. people are sick of baked goods, like coworkers and stuff, because there's too much of it out there. So it's like, what do I
Right.
do with my free time? So in the winter, I tend to draw and bake a lot more. So this December and January, I drew Godzilla here. I thought it was cool just to not have any details, just keep them all black.
Yeah, I like the silhouette. It's very iconic, and yeah, you know who it is without having much detail going on there. And World Made of Cardboard, also an artist who enjoyed doodling here and there. And rumor has it he's pretty handy with some cardboard. You might check out his channel.
Yeah.
sometime.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I love his stuff.
Oh yeah, it's fun stuff. Thanos Copter, nice to see you. What's Ian got to say here? My childhood art wasn't worth saving. Oh, everybody's childhood art's worth saving. Come on, it's got to end up on the fridge and then somewhere.
Yeah.
I took art to avoid taking German. Nice. Oh well.
There are very few, but some remainders of those fun days of my youth. But yeah.
Yeah, my stuff's who knows. That was many moves ago. I've lost most of that. This one's another nice one.
Yeah.
Just kind of a forest scene. I
Aurora
love the colors.
Borealis in your house.
Gesundheit.
Huh?
Yeah. Now, can you actually see the northern lights there in Colorado, or is this just artistic license?
Artistic license. I would love to visit Scandinavia soon. My next trip abroad is Germany. Hopefully this coming spring, so 2024. But then
cool.
I would love to do Scandinavia after that. Go up to Norway and Finland. But
You'll be yodeling in the fjords, will you?
And this one, I was trying to get my trees better. I don't know how else to say it. My trees never looked really good, so I was practicing. You could see the one on the left is real scrawny.
I'm telling you, man. Was it Bob Ross? Happy Little Trees.
Yep.
PBS.
There's no
Great
mistakes,
stuff.
just happy little accidents. Yeah.
That's right. And Rollo is right there with you. It was the wrong choice, Ian. You should have taken the German. Then you could learn how to cuss with style. They have very angry words in German, but very, very precise.
And it's
Yes.
funny because like
pining for the fjords. Yes,
with learning
pining for the
German,
fjords.
it's not an angry language when you hear a German speak it, because for Americans, because we grew up with television, we adopt what we hear on television as the way we think it's spoken.
Right.
It's like, sprechen Sie Deutsch? Wie geht's Ihnen? Sounds very calm. It's yeah. Instead of, but we would be like, yeah, and we exaggerate the words.
Yeah, I learned my German from watching Sergeant Schultz in Hogan's Heroes, so that's probably why I have a terrible accent. Exactly. World Made of Cardboard says that he found out after his mother passed, she had kept a small chest with some of his art. That's very cool.
Oh.
Moms, gotta give it up for moms. They collect a lot of great things, and you just never know what you're going to find later on in life. Those little memory nuggets.
That's wonderful.
Cool. I agree with Ian. German does sound a little like Klingon sometimes. But Rollo contends that it is a very poetic language, and it's true. Most of the languages that we use are Germanic in nature. So, if you follow the root back, there's a little German in everybody. He's about this tall, and he's kind of frisky. So,
and like most languages, it's always better. It always sounds better when spoken by a Fräulein.
I can't go wrong there. A little beer maiden. Yeah, that goes a long way. Anywho, art and badgers and toys.
And that beautiful Action Force APC, or
yeah,
what did they call it? They called it something else, didn't they? Wasn't it called the ATC or something?
So instead of armored, it was, I think, the all-terrain carrier, because it's more appropriate to the fact that it's a canvas carrier that goes over rough terrain. That's why I think it is. I could be wrong.
Right. I love what Palatoy did with this one, though, because, the Joes just had a carry-all. You just throw your guys in there, and it was cool. But Palatoy said, hold my beer. And they put a freaking command center inside. They put a place for a stretcher. They've got communications. They did a great job.
Toolbox.
Yeah. So much better upgrade with the
And the
Palatoy
missiles.
version.
Well, actually, did the Joe one have a? No, it did have a weapon, but it didn't have a hatch.
It just had a cannon, but yeah, I mean they missed opportunity not being able to put the figure in the hatch.
And then the missiles are separate. You can pull them off and then pretend like you're firing the missiles.
Mm-hmm.
Seems I've started a German controversy here. So some German compliments can sound like you're cussing someone out. That's fair. Action Force, cheers. Yes, Ian, we love the Action Force. We love old school. We love new school. Bob Breakin and his team did an outstanding job back in the day. And of course, we're partial to Bobby Vala's version too.
Yeah.
And Pericles is saying, sitcom joke, I remember. Why did you tell them I spoke French? I'm taking German. German is not a sexy language. Who knew? At least with my southern accent with German, that would be interesting.
Well, the other joke I like to tell people is, I wanted to learn French, but I had to take German. Oh, why did you take German? Well, the French was on strike.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, interesting country. But not as interesting as Japan, which we see ourselves in here with some great toy photography with some micro machines, I believe.
So as a 90s kid, well, born tail end of 85. So by the time we got into the 90s, that's when I had a memory, and that's when I started playing with toys. Not just holding the toy, but like actually having imagination and playing with them. And in my generation, it was the small toys, the micro machines, the Z-Bots, anything that was small and that could be held, your hand could hold a bunch of them. Those were the fun toys for us.
Oh, yeah.
And, it gives you a bigger scope of imagination. You have play sets and armies of vehicles. So you could do so much more. You don't quite have the story of an individual the way you'd have like a Palatoy or a Kenner X-Wing with Luke going on like a singular mission. But with smaller toys, you can get bigger, grander scopes of playtime.
That's true.
Absolutely.
And Micro Machine also happens to work really well with SH. No, is this Figure Arts? No. Well, which
it might be the Bandai version. I'm not sure.
Yes, this is Bandai.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Final Wars Godzilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how tall is he? About 6 inch?
He's a 6 inch. In all pictures, he looks bigger than he is. If he's a 6 inch figure, imagine that head is tiny.
Yeah. But you had some experience with the Micro Machine stuff coming through KB Toys, didn't you, Will? I mean, those were
I saw plenty of the sets. I never really got into them, but I always admired them. Just about anything. I mean, I love all toys, but I would see them, and I picked up a couple of sets here and there. Oh yeah,
there we go. Oh, and a little humble brag that he's picked up the new Outback. That's a recent addition.
Yeah,
that looks nice.
Yeah, it's great that Hasbro keeps telling me they're going to ship at a certain month, and then they always send them to you a month or two early, so it messes up with your finances. Stop it, Hasbro.
Yeah, like release dates would be nice if they stuck to the release dates. I agree, but it's cool that you got him.
Yeah, he's a nice figure. I like him. I still like Old Man Outback because he's my representative.
Oh yeah, he's Wyoming man. Yeah.
But this is him in his younger days.
That's going to be my Chuck Norris custom for my Action Force shelf because I got to have a Chuck Norris. I love that head. That'll work. Even though he's not officially in the group, but it's Chuck.
I'm still playing around also with my cover girl.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing a bunch of swaps.
Yeah, we'll get into your customs here in a minute. Another great Godzilla shot here with Tokyo on fire and the Defense Force scrambling to resist the kaiju.
Yeah,
nice.
I need to. I don't really have another kaiju to pair him with. I guess the closest I could do would be something like Mythic Legions. But he needs another kaiju to balance him out. Because what does the army do?
Yeah, they get squashed. World Made of Cardboard likes these because, toys that size, you stick them in your pocket and sneak them into school.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I did that
Cool
all the
stuff in
time.
recess.
Me and a world
all
made of cardboard would have got along great in school because he'd be like, "Hey, look what I got," and then I'd pull out, "Look what I got." Yeah.
You both end up in the detention with
Mhm.
your stuff. This is another nice shot with. Now, is this a micro machine? What toy line was this?
So this is also Galoob, which did the Micro Machine line, but this is Action
Fleet. Okay.
Battle Squads. So Action Fleet, let me grab an X-Wing.
Okay.
And where'd the Falcon go?
Yeah, Ian's saying Action Forces SAS figures were the coolest in the 80s. I agree. That has a lot to do with very public embassy siege in 1980. We talked about that when we did our was that on our Steel Brigade episode? We talked about that.
No, that was on Condor's episode because he
That's
was
right.
SAS.
Because he was SAS.
Yeah, that really brought and that Action Force SAS colored vehicles. It's like a grail to me. That Panther, I think they called it, the black and gold. I want it so bad.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I liked the original Palitoy Action Force, and then went right after. I think the second year they switched into the teams with Z Force, SAS, the Space Force. I don't remember. Well, there was another faction. Oh, the Q Force, the Aqua guys. Just fun. A lot of fun with those. Definitely like to add some of those vintage Palitoys to my collection, but they're getting spendy.
I know. If I make $1 million, I'm buying them all. I don't care.
Oh man, no kidding.
I'd love to just be able to buy them, no discretion. Yes,
that's right.
Take them all. Thank you.
Get your mind out of the gutter. A world made of cardboard. Because it sounded odd. You're still playing around with your cover girl. He's not wrong. I'm just saying. You guys. His mother was a teacher. That's interesting. I had to be careful about getting detention. It meant I was in trouble when you get double trouble. Because then, of course, mom knows when you get detention, and then you get it again when you get to the house. So, yep, Q Force. Thank you, Ian. They had some great stuff. But, that's a good point. Rita Hayworth. That would be a good image for cover girl, because the head they chose, I'm not in love with it. I mean, I prefer. I kind of like the blonde cover girl myself, she was blonde in some of the comics. I don't know if she was blonde in the cartoon or not. I can't remember. Did she show up in the Sunbow cartoons?
She shows up in.
She does.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She shows up in the short red hair. I don't know if she shows up later in the Deke era. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, so, that was several beers ago. I don't remember.
So what you're seeing on screen, I'll show you. So in addition to Micro Machines, Galoob did this slightly larger line of Action Fleet for Star Wars. So Kenner had the license for the 3 3/4 scale. Galoob were experts at small sizes, micro sizes. So they got the license to do Star Wars for Micro Machines, and then later this kind of 1 to 90, 1 to 100 scale fleet of vehicles where you could put pilots in, and you had ground vehicles and play sets. But later, they released a military line called Battle Squads. So also about that scale, somewhere around 190, 100. You could put pilots in it, and it was only one wave, because after the first wave, Hasbro bought Galoob out and they stopped the line. But it is my favorite toy line of the 90s. I think this was 97 when this line came out. And I am working on my first and only fully produced video where I'm going to be talking just about this line.
Always admired that line. From afar, I never bought into them, but every time I saw them, I would just examine the box and look at them. They're real neat, yeah. When I saw that you had them, I lived vicariously through you.
And I love the detail on the Star Wars ones. Like, this is a damaged X-Wing, and you can see on that side, you can see all the detail, inner parts of the damage that's sculpted in, the cracked window. all the
yeah,
markings on the sides. So they did a
good job.
really great job with this line, and I love that line.
I lost sound. What happened?
Can you hear me?
I think Jim dropped out. Okay. I think we lost Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jim just popped out. He must have lost power or something. But okay. Well, he had I guess. Let me see. He had
Oh,
this
there we go.
stream up. Okay, and he's back. All right. So we're back. I just wanted to make sure we didn't get lost, and I didn't want to cut you off. It's just yeah, all the sound cut out when you dropped out for a second there.
Sorry,
But
guys. Yeah, my internet is wigging out today. We're having some technical difficulties here in Guatemala. I think the hamsters that run our electric company are tired. They don't want to be on the wheel. Brick something. Hey, buddy. So
Yeah,
apologies for
listen,
that. We're trying to keep things rolling. I'm sorry. Where were you, Jesse? I
Yeah,
lost the connection.
he was saying something, and then I panicked.
Don't panic. That's a first rule. Have you not read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah, I was just talking about Battle Squad and Action Fleet, and just
Right.
They're my
Absolutely love
favorite
them.
lines.
I think we might have a slide of them in here. I'm not sure. I know you're partial to the snow speeder in any scale, and so you've got a good collection of those. What other vehicles? I mean, I know you have some like World War II, and what else?
Of this scale, this line.
The Action Fleet or around that scale.
So Galoob made a lot for Action Fleet. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of getting everything, so I limit myself to just Rebel starfighters. So I've got a couple X-wings. I got all the variants of the Y-wing. There are 4 variants: snow speeders, A-wing, B-wing, all that fun stuff. The Millennium Falcon. So I sold off. I gave my TIE fighters to my nephew, and then I sold off everything else and just stuck with the Rebel ships. With Battle Squads, I have the entire Wave 1, including international variants and packaging, and this one, which was never sold at retail. This one I picked up from someone who, this must have been a test sample, but I picked it up and I'm super happy with it. And my friends are super jealous of it because they don't have one.
Nice.
This was supposed to be for Wave 2 and it never came out.
Ooh, so you definitely have kind of a rare piece. Nice.
Well, it came out, but it came out with
different colors.
It came out under the Hasbro license because they purchased it in '98. So this was one that it got produced but never got sold. So what Hasbro did was they took this version, they gave it a different paint job, and then they sold it with a Micro Machine playset.
Interesting.
Only in the UK, only in Europe, so you can't find it in America. But it's a fun playset because it's this laser missile system where there's this vehicle with a missile on top, an IBM, and as it moves, you have a laser system that you put this on, and if the laser touches the toy, it pops apart.
Oh wow! Kind of like the old Captain Power gimmick they used with the TV with the laser. Yeah.
So I have the only sample we can find of this Falcon, and then what Hasbro did with it a year later in '99, which I'm very sad with because they blackened the cockpit and they put a screw in it so you can't open it to put figures inside.
Oh, that's a bummer. Was that to accommodate the electronic deal, or?
There's no electronics in the figure. That's on the flight stick. It's just they don't have any figures to sell with it because it was sold with the Micro Machine playset.
Got it.
Hasbro did the same thing with Star Wars toys they took from Galoob after they purchased them, because in 2000 they re-released a bunch of Star Wars ships but packaged them with no figures.
Right. Okay.
Because
interesting.
Hasbro.
Yeah, Hasbro. God bless them. Now this is one of my favorites. I love these. This is kind of a intermittent series that the Epic Badger's been doing on his Instagram called A Story in 3 Pictures. And this was a great example, I like, of the creature whose name just went right out of my head.
The
Wampa Wampa.
Thank you. The Wampa getting ready to have a little feast and then realizing that's probably not a good idea. The Tauntauns are not happy.
Those are all Tauntauns from the Action Fleet line. They all have Lukes and Hans that can ride them. And I just ended up with 12.
As you would, Hey, more the merrier.
Yeah. But yeah, I like I like having just 3 images because it's such a quick way to tell a story. But if done well, it can tell a really good story.
Yeah, it's fun. I want to see more in that series as you progress with your toy photography.
I think the middle one, he's saying like, I wasn't doing nothing. I think
in the middle he's resigned himself. He's just like,
Yeah.
Well, there goes my afternoon.
Exactly. And a great image. I love it. Just tells a story in and of itself. Fishing with the Joes. And
my favorite
looks like
bazooka. I love it.
That?
I love that Badger loves it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like an angry bass that they're trying to get into the boat there? Or?
So that boat and that bass, it's a Walmart toy line of 3 3/4 scale figures, and you can get it's all outdoor vehicles. So Jeeps and trucks and boat ramps and or not ramps, boat haulers, whatever they're called. And of course the boat and ATVs and stuff. And so Fisherman Bazooka was one of my first GI Joes growing up. That's the era.
Now, is he supposed to be a fisherman, or did he just look like that?
I'm pretty sure he's a fisherman. I don't
bazooka
know why.
Gone fishing. Yeah, that's gone fishing.
I don't know if they thought maybe he's from Louisiana or from the Bayou or something, but
when I saw that figure, I had to have it. I don't know why. I just love it.
Yeah,
it's just great.
But that cool. Boat came with a fishing pole, and that's why I wanted the boat, was so I could have the fishing pole to keep with Bazooka.
It totally fits. And Bjorn is keeping us honest. 66 days to Valicon. We appreciate him keeping us on track there. World Made of Cardboard has a question for you, Jesse.
Yeah.
I'll pop you up here. What do you think about Jack's Micro Galaxy toys? The one that has like a 12-syllable name. What do they call it? Galaxy Action Fleet something. I always get that one confused.
So the toy company is Jazzware.
Jazzwares. Okay.
Jazzware. It's Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadrons.
Okay.
That
is a mouthful.
They're not quite what I had. The detail has been lessened a little bit. It's also a little bit different because they're trying to make sure that the vehicle sizes are scaled to each other. Because an example is, if I grab the Falcon.
Okay.
Got some examples right here. So you can see this is the Galoob X-Wing from the Action Fleet. And this is the X-Wing on this side from Jazzware.
Oh, okay. So now, is it more... Right, but they're in scale with each other in the new line from Jazzwares.
Yeah, so if you look at Galoob, the Falcon is the same size as the X-Wing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take Jazzware...
Good grief. Oh, yeah.
The Falcon's a bit bigger.
Maybe not quite in scale, but it's pretty darn close.
It's so the head designer for the line basically said we have to cheat with some of these bigger vehicles because there's just no way we can get them big enough and not have them playable for kids anymore. Because Jazzware is really a company for kids.
Yeah.
And for video gamers, because they make Fortnite, they make Halo. But this is a toy that you play with, and they knew they couldn't go too crazy with the size to make the X-Wing match up. So they admit if they do an AT-AT, an AT-AT, if they do some other big ship, they're going to have to cheat with those. But with like the TIE Fighter, the X-Wing, the Y-Wing, the Snowspeeder is a little bit smaller than the X-Wing. So Galoob kept them all the same size. Jazzware is playing around with the sizes a little bit more.
Fair enough.
Look at this giant chunky thing.
It's a beast. I do like that one. I have one of those upstairs somewhere. The sound effects are kind of interesting. I do wish they'd made the back compartment to where it stayed on a little better. It does tend to be a little loose, but it's a good example. Let's see. World Made of Cardboard saying, I always wondered what Bazooka did with the grenades when he's going fishing. Well, as a hillbilly myself, I can tell you what he did with those grenades. Yeah, they make great depth charges to get the fish concussed so you can pick them up with a net. So
Just stun them and scoop them up.
that's it. Yeehaw.
Which is on the books in Wyoming as illegal. You can't do that.
Yes. And probably immoral too, but after a couple of Pabst Blue Ribbons, anything's possible.
Well, I think technically the language is you cannot use TNT, but
grenades are fine. Yeah.
I'm sure a judge would still hit you on grenades.
Yeah, maybe it's a great. It depends on the judge. If he's a fishy, if he's a fishy judge, no. If he's a fishy aficionado, yeah, maybe you can get away with it. I don't know. Don't try it at home, kids.
Don't do that.
Oh, I'm almost scared to read this one. When Rolo goes fishing, let's see. Got me a line. I know nothing about fishing, but I'm taking my time. You ain't never gonna be happy anyhow anyway. So I'm going fishing, and I'm going today. That's so poetic. He's a poet at heart. Rolo. Oh boy.
Yeah, and this image is a series of it's a whole story I've told. I think it's like 7 or 8 images. So I'm hoping to put that on my YouTube channel at some point.
Cool. Yeah, moving right along. I love this image. More for what's in the background than what's in the foreground. As you guys know, we named our show AF3. For alliteration purposes, but also because it is a throwback to the Palatoy AF3, which we see in the background there.
Beautiful vehicle. Yes.
Yeah. So he has these Z-Force edition, which is really cool. Love the paint job on that. And this is the SAS boat that we have here with Bazooka Gone Fishing is compatible with the AF3, I believe.
Yep. Yeah. I can take it off. I like this new setup I have. I can literally just reach anything behind me.
Nice.
Yeah, so you take off the motor, you take off the gun, and then there's holes at the top.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how it connected.
There are pegs, or no, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So they're raised.
The pegs are on the roll bar. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, actually, what really holds it in is the centerpiece. There's this hole here, and then there's this piece here where the gun goes.
Yeah.
And it's that you have to line up.
Nice.
Oops.
That's such a great design.
You got to make sure you have the windshield up.
Windshield.
Yeah.
I love that design.
Yeah.
And now, does the AF3 come with a boat, or do you have to use the SAS accessory?
As far as I know, they come with the boat, but the boat can be sold as an accessory because you'll notice this is a Z-Force vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The boat is SAS. So this specific boat was sold separately.
Yeah, I think they repurposed it, and it came with the SAS.
All the inboxed ones I've seen, it looks like they come with the boat. And when you look at the comic that comes with the vehicle, it tells a story on one page of them using both the Jeep and the boat to rescue a pilot who's been dropped in the water. So I'm pretty sure they all come with a boat, but don't quote me on that.
Fair enough. Got a question for Brick, something for you. Badger, were you into the miniatures for the Star Wars X-Wing game? Oh, I've seen some of those. Those are cool. They are gorgeous, in his humble opinion, and mine. I like those. I came so close to collecting, but aborted mission last minute. Yeah, they get spendy.
It's the reason why I don't do like 40K and other stuff. It is spendy. The amount of money you have to spend to just have a squadron. I have the money. I don't want to spend the money.
Right.
It's tempting, but I don't I'd rather just buy Micro Machines and have a whole squadron for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because some of
One of
those
those things.
miniatures.
If budget wasn't an issue, gimme.
Oh yeah,
But it's you had to limit yourself.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
also made, just like with Warhammer, they also made a Star Wars Legions game, which has soldiers. So it's a
Right.
smaller scale tactical squad v squad battle, kind of like
more like Battlefront,
well,
the video game.
It's handheld like miniatures.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Like 40K. It's a tabletop.
And 40K has a version called Kill Teams, where it's just a squad versus a squad. It's not an army. And Star Wars Legions is like that, where it's a squad of rebels versus a squad of Empire, and there's rules on how they engage on this square board.
Oh, cool.
I was tempted to do that, but the same thing, I'd have to spend so much money and then paint each individual figure.
Well, I like miniature painting. It's kind of a Zen thing, but yeah, it's very time consuming. I'm very intrigued by the idea that is coming from. Oh Lord, my brain is addled today. The co-host of Loose but Complete, Jeremy, his authority figure. Thank you.
Yes.
The game that he's developing, I believe, with his brother for Animals of the Warrior Kingdom, and maybe there'll be other versions that'll come out using the 1/12 scale in skirmish battle on a tabletop, because it's like, I'm already collecting the figures and now I'll have a game to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sign me up. So that's a cool idea, and kind of goes along with that same idea. I love tabletop games, but they do get spendy, and like you say, trying to paint all those miniatures.
The stuff you already have and just apply this rule set to it. It makes sense. It's really a really good idea.
Definitely. Follow up here. Would X-Wing minis be considered the most robust and in-scale toys of the ships that have ever been available? They went pretty deep on the ship selection. Are you talking about the miniature game versions, or are you talking about the newer Jazzwares? Because they both have gone pretty deep in the line of Rebel ships.
Yeah, I think with miniatures, they have to be roughly about the same size. Because even capital ships, they could only be so big on a board. Whereas these smaller ships, because they're not doing capital ships, these smaller Jazzware ones, they can be better scaled with each other.
Okay, he's talking about the gaming minis. Yeah, they even did like the Headhunter and
they went to the expanded universe,
right?
And Jazzware said they will go into the expanded universe.
Nice.
Great. Yeah,
I don't know what yet. I'm hoping for the Outrider. I really would like that ship.
That would be nice.
And they could do it because they did the Falcon, so they can do something in that scale.
Mm-hmm.
The E-Wing is kind of a rare one. I'd like to see that, and who knows what else they'll come up with.
Galoob did the E-Wing because Galoob at the time, the expanded universe was still in existence in the 90s, so Galoob did the E-Wing, and no one bought it because no one had really read the books by that time. And now it's a really expensive ship to get on secondhand.
Yeah, I agree, Brick. I'm really looking forward to what Jazzware's coming out with. So far, I have an X-Wing, I have a TIE Fighter, and I have the Falcon. And I haven't picked up the Slave 1 yet, but I definitely want to get that too.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're calling Boba's ship these days.
Well, they done 2 versions of it, but not the one anybody wants. They done Jango's, and they done the Book of Boba Fett. So in the next
I want the Empire Strikes Back version. That's the one.
That will be the next one that comes out.
Cool. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So moving right along. I don't know if we're going to get through all these slides tonight.
I can rush through these next ones.
Well, we got to talk about your Scarlet obsession.
Scarlet Fever.
Woo! There you go. You have definitely made mileage out of this particular figure or set of figures. The Scarlet from the movie is available at a pretty good price because the movie wasn't terribly successful. It was, in my opinion, the best figure of the movie line. Good face sculpt,
Easily.
Good body, and Epic Badger just took that and ran with it and did all kinds of variants of Scarlet from the Sunbow cartoon, from the comic books. We've got a couple examples here. So we have the one in the center, I believe, is more Sunbow cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The one in the light blue, is that from the comics or is that a variant figure?
There was a variant. I think it's version 3. I could be wrong, but it's either version 3 or version 4. It was made as a
Okay.
toy, but it was made not in the 3 3/4, but that slightly larger 4-inch.
The anniversary 4-inch style.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And
I had
Karate
that.
Scarlet?
I think they just call that
s-
modern style, that 4-inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her in a karate gi in the comics. Was there ever a figure of that in the line anywhere?
I don't think in the line.
There
What
was
I
the
was trying
Ninja
to
Force
do,
or whatever, right? Wasn't
yeah,
there?
in the cartoon, she was in a gi, but she was in a blue gi. I went with
Okay.
white because I had a scarlet, or not a scarlet, a Black Widow,
I gotcha.
and it
Yeah.
didn't require much customization. I just had to take off the high heels and swap the shoes and paint them white.
Okay.
However, Classified is apparently doing a series of books that I didn't know about. And on the cover of one of them is Scarlet in a white gi that I saw after I
Ooh.
had done this figure.
Very nice.
And I will be very upset if they do that version of Scarlet before they do the vintage Scarlet.
Yeah, Scarlet needs love. The two versions that we've got, the movie version and the Fortnite game style that they first came out with, neither is perfect. They've done a lot of good renditions of other figures that they've kind of updated. Scarlet needs an update.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's the reason why, because Scarlet was like $5 on Amazon.
right.
Yeah.
The movie bombed and no one wanted the toys. And so I got one because I thought she was the good looking figure. And then I got a second to do a custom.
Okay. World Made a Cardboard saying that's reminiscent of the Scarlet in when she was a pilot for the Sky Striker. So
Okay.
yeah, okay, I can dig that.
Yeah, I remember the toy had not a jumpsuit. What do you call that? Like a parachute gear, a harness.
Right, harness. Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of Coral Ian, this is one of my favorite customs he did.
Easily.
Ba-boom!
I love it.
Yeah. Gotta love that old school Coral.
And Coral
actually, mhm.
yeah, Coral used the same body as Scarlet version 1. So, I didn't have to change anything on the body. I just had to give her the same paint job as the toy. And then I took the quiver from that first classified Scarlet and put it on that figure.
Wow.
The one on the right on the bike, that was the original, that first edition Scarlet from Classified with the really young looking face and the weird colors. So that was my first attempt at Scarlet. And then I took the Snake Eyes Scarlet on the left and made that one. And that's the one up on my shelf right now.
I prefer that head sculpt, definitely. But you nailed the colors for the costume. And having her with the ram cycle, yeah, that totally works.
Yeah, and I trimmed her hair a little bit so it's a little shorter so she doesn't look exactly like Scarlet.
Sure. And I like the Coral version better. I'm kind of partial to the Palatoy and later Hasbro Action Force stuff. They just seem to put a spin on things that was just kind of neat. I don't know. I'm biased. Some other great customs here. A medic for the Cobras. That turned out nice.
Oh, yeah.
And a lieutenant for your on-ground coordinations with a much better head sculpt, in my opinion, than the First Lady J.
That's the Maria Hill Quake Marvel Legend figure.
Right. And does that fit pretty well on the Lady J body, or did you have to modify?
They have the same ball joint for the necks. The newer figures coming out have smaller ball joints. So like CoverGirl, who just came out, her ball joint is much smaller, so the heads don't quite fit. But when they did Lady J, it's the same ball joint as like your standard Marvel Legend size. So that head just pops right on.
That's cool. Great.
Yeah.
And then that backpack was from a Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, and then the gun strap is from Action Force.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of kit bashing. I don't do as much painting as I used to. So anytime you can, mix and match parts, it's always a nice thing.
Yeah.
And this one in the middle looks reminiscent of Lucy. You want to tell us about that custom?
Yeah, so just a heads up, it's not my custom. I didn't do it. But it was at a time where I knew I wasn't going to have my dog for very long. And there is a customizer on YouTube. His name is Dave Wander. And he also does comic, not stenciling, but
Commissions? Or,
no,
oh,
he does
oh.
like official comic stuff, but it's not
Oh, wow.
stenciling, it's the coloring.
Oh, okay.
So he goes to conventions, but
Cool.
I reached out to him because he knows people who do customizings for commission. And when I reached out to him to say, do you know anyone who could take this timber and turn it into my dog? He's a big dog lover. His dogs come up on his his live streaming all the time. He was
Nice.
great. He was like, I love dogs. I totally get where you're coming from. Just send it to me and I'll paint it for you.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it came out amazing. He got I sent him a bunch of pictures of Lucy and he got every detail spot on.
Yeah,
And
even the
she's
eyes.
up there on the top of my classified display.
Very cool. Yeah, we're all dog lovers here, so definitely appreciate having an avatar on the shelf. And another great custom, working with what you could find and doing some parting to make a Lara Croft.
Yeah, so
not bad.
That I think is parts and pieces from like 7 figures.
Wow.
There's a lot of Electra in there. The Netflix Electra, the Netflix Jessica Jones, and then the shorts and legs from Jubilee, the boots from Miss Marvel, but not the current one that just came out, but like one from like a few years ago.
Like the Gamerverse version?
Yeah, the Gamerverse. The belt
Okay.
loop and gun holster is from Black Widow, the white body Black Widow that I used for Scarlet. The guns
Cool.
are from Valiverse, and then the head is from Classified, the 1.5 edition of Scarlet, where they aged her face up.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that works out. But you can definitely see from this that even kit bashing, it can get expensive just to make one figure because you're cannibalizing like 5 to 7 different figures to get the look you want.
Yeah,
But
even on
the results are
secondhand market, it came up to a lot, and I had to try to figure out what to do with those other bodies and parts. But I'm happy with how she came out. Her skin tone doesn't quite match everything, but in shadows she looks fine.
Yeah, it looks great in toy photography. I like and I like your background here. How do you achieve your forest look? Are you using a computer screen or what are you doing there?
So yes, computer screen for the digital background, and then I have a box of like, if you go to Walmart or you go to Michael's, you can buy like moss in like the miniature section for like trains and towns and stuff. You can buy like moss sets and you just put it down like a floor.
Oh, cool.
And then I have like a ton of aquarium and not aquarium. What's the lizard stuff?
Terrarium.
Terrarium. Yeah. I go and I buy little bits of that stuff, and that way I can create 3D effects.
And that's a great tip for anybody toy photography-ing out there. I just made that a verb. Yeah, aquarium stuff, terrarium stuff. You can find these in the pet section of most department stores, and they're fairly inexpensive and make great terrain for whether you're doing a diorama or toy photography. So something to keep in mind. And
you'll see there's that log that the wolves are jumping over. That log is made of cork, and you can buy those for like $10-15 at, I think it's Petco. That's a small one. There's a couple that are really big, like they're full-size trees, and I use those for a lot of my backgrounds.
Cool. World Made of Cardboard wants to know, when are you going to make a Ninja Force Scarlet?
That's one we didn't see, and she's on Instagram.
Okay, as a reminder, both the YouTube and Instagram for Epic Badger are somewhere down below in the description. If
I didn't put her on Instagram yet, I'll put her on soon. I did her a long time ago, but I did do one of Ninja Force Scarlet.
Nice. There's another good set of images using the raptor. Now, she fought raptors in the original video game?
It was the first one. She was fighting wolves and bears and tigers. I think it was the third. Bjorn might know better than me, but I think it was the third game when she was fighting raptors and T-Rexes.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm also going to pop those right in the chat. So anyone
Okay,
that wants to go
great.
check out Jesse's channel, please go do so. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, great toy photography. I agree with Ian. The Red Shadows are a great group of baddies from back in the 80s. Some fun designs there that where they took some Hasbro stuff and kind of put their own spin on it. And definitely cool. So, and let's see. Let me catch up with the chat here. It's jumping on me. Yeah.
Well,
Brick saying they love these classified and legend customs. Very cool concepts. I agree.
Thank you.
It's always great to see, what customizers are coming up with. What's Ian got to say here? Speaking of ninja figures, Legends of the Hidden Force Kickstarter. Yes, those do look nice. Those are 1/18 scale.
That's another thing that's going to kill my budget because I got to go all in. And I'm just kind of I'm trying to move the pieces around mentally and make it happen.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's the YouTube link for the Badger. Like I said, it's in the description. So if you want to catch it later. Wolves, tigers, and bears. Oh, my. Oh, don't mention tigers. Bjorn's in the room.
I'm pretty sure Ian's mentioned it before, but I think he's a 118 diehard like myself. That I appreciate other lines and I like them, but my heart belongs to the 118 scale.
Right. And as Mr. Wonderful's asking, we just talked about backdrops. Sometimes you use a computer screen. Sometimes you use portrait images.
Yeah, most of the time
really
I have a laptop that's like a 15-inch laptop, and I just find I go to Google and I search under open license just so I never get flagged with images. Sure. And I just pull up whatever I find. I have a whole file I save them in.
Well, cool. Jesse, Disney Plus stole that idea, and they use it to make all their shows now. So, they pretty much just have a big laptop open, and they have the actors stand in front of it.
It does seem that way.
You're
sometimes.
Doing something right. Love it.
I like this one. Yeah. Nice action shot.
Yep, having some fun with my Mythic Legions.
Oh yeah, and now I got to talk about the moose loose in the hoose. So,
God, jeez.
Yeah, this thing's a
I think
beefy
we heard
boy.
your chair groaning and you groaning as you went to pick it up.
It's not light.
Yeah, let's talk about this beast. Now, this is a Mythic Legions that came out as one of their mounts for, I think, the elves. Yeah, it definitely looks good with Mountaineer guy. Very, very Colorado. Look at that rack. That is awesome.
I mean, you can, and you see on the image, like you could fit a figure on one of the antlers.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
look at that.
I love you've got Sarge and Lady J and another Sarge and you've got Timber. So there's plenty.
I've had Sarge riding the moose. I've had Master Chief, the 7-inch Master Chief riding the moose. Like it's such a commanding figure. You have to get the biggest, toughest guys to ride him.
Oh, absolutely. Now the real moose, where was this image taken?
So that's not too far from me. So I live in the Front Range near Denver, and if you go up further north towards the Wyoming border, northern Colorado is very much like southern Wyoming. It's hills and mountains and prairie and not swamp, but places where water collects, and there's a lot of moose out there. So to the animals out there, there's no difference between Colorado and Wyoming. So they just travel as they do. But I was taking a stroll just on the back roads one weekend because I wanted to get away from the people in the city because I'm not a city person. And I was making a turn and I just saw it coming out from one side of the road. And you can't tell, but I'm zoomed in at 2 times zoom.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm a smart human and you don't get near the big animals.
Yeah, they're not as friendly as you might think.
No. People go to Yellowstone. They're like, I want to pet the bison. They'll put their hands out the window.
Oh, Lord.
Take their car. And it's like, what happened?
They are wild. Yeah, they're wild beasties. Rolo makes a good point. Riding a moose is far more manly than riding a bull. It's muy macho. But I wouldn't recommend trying to ride one in real life. They don't like it.
No.
And Ian is saying that terrain accessories for toy photography, recommend going through and looking for some cheap fishing tank bits. That's a good point. There's some great bargains out there, and a little bit of forced perspective and playing around. You can come up with some cool imagery. Very cool. So moving right along. Oh, yeah, he's loving that.
This was just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no background to this. I had the girls. I had the dog. It was horrible. I was like, yeah, why not?
He's loving it. He's just loving the attention.
Yeah, I am gonna redo that picture.
I love this one.
In that last picture, I'm gonna redo it because I have updated versions of my Scarlet and my Coral and my CoverGirl. So I can redo that entire picture with the new and use Lucy instead of Timber.
Okay, very cool. Loving this one. Yeah, the rock band with the broken bat, Timber on drums, Lady Thor, and the Valkyrie shredding on the guitar. I'm digging.
Is there anything that Wolf can't do?
I think I settled on Odin's Ravens for the band.
Nice. And they'll be going on tour in a city near you. I'm
yeah,
sure.
they were going to go to Asgard, but something happened. There was a fire warning, so they didn't go.
Yeah, it might be under construction right now. I'm not sure. And of course, you've got Party On with your Steel Brigade.
Sometimes it's not about painting figures, but painting accessories. And so I picked up these guitars unpainted off of eBay. And I matched the colors for Steel Brigade, both the standard and the BBTS Night Ops version.
Hey, guys, just a suggestion. The lounge could use a band. And, these guys could play us on and off on AF3 every other week.
Oh, man. Do a little stop motion photography. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, this was when I only had 2 Steel Brigade, and now I have 10.
Yeah, and the girls definitely need to have Immigrant Song in their set list. I agree. And, Eldor's here. Hey, Eldor. Good to see you. So let's see what else we got in your bag of tricks here. Ooh, Steel Brigade. Loving these action shots. Again, using some cool scenery and some backdrops off the laptop imagery there.
Yep.
Just really pops. I'm digging that.
Yep, there's a mixture of aquarium props as well as different mosses you can buy in cheap bags at Michael's and Walmart. And then I just take some of those and I break them apart and put them down for smaller bushes and stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I definitely prefer a smaller bush. Bump. Nice vista here with some eclipse action and the Steel Brigade kind of looking off. And I can almost hear the Star Wars Luke theme, They're looking for a brighter day here.
Yeah, it was tough between this one and the one where the Steel Brigade in the foreground is in focus because you can see his logo more clearly. But I think the logo is clear enough to still get a sense of who they are.
Yeah, it gives depth to the imagery. I like that. Very cool. And then, some other lovely ladies. Now, these are some I saw Brick Something playing with, and I am very curious about this line.
Yep.
What company is this? This is, I want to say like X-Ray or something like that. How do they?
I pronounce it Zesray, Xesray.
All right.
I think it's Zesray. That's what I've heard from other people too. Now this is wave 3 of their combatants line. Wave 1 and 2 were male gladiators, and then wave 3 had a few males, but that's when they introduced their females in the wave. Wave 4 coming out has Roman legions and minotaurs coming out. But this wave, I never had any of the line before. I saw them, thought they looked amazing. I mostly wanted the one in red, but I ended up getting all 3 of them.
They're all great.
Now,
yeah.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful sculpts, and these are kind of 6 to 7 inch scale. I'm not sure where they fall. I know they're a little larger. they're kind of Mythic Legions ish in scale.
There's the females are smaller than the males of their line, but the females stand toe to toe with any male from like Marvel Legends. So
Okay.
if you put them up against a female from another line, they're going to be taller.
Right, kind of Amazonian, but they're
Yeah,
built.
yeah. If
They're
you get like
beautiful.
the 7-inch Wonder Woman
Mhm.
from McFarlane, she would probably be about their size.
Actually, one of these bucks, I would rather use something like this and make a custom Wonder Woman, because that to me that's an Amazonian. She should be
Mhm.
bigger than the other figures.
Yeah.
Goji's in the house. No, we haven't done any Kate Bishop love yet. I don't know if we have her in here, but she's definitely on the Instagram. Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
Another
this is
great
this is the one I'm
custom
sending
fodder
to
figure.
Largo.
Yes, I'm
Keep
looking
your-
forward to working with that one.
Keep your eye out at Target because like $689.
Oh wow,
Sweet.
yeah, that's a good deal.
It's one of my favorite Marvel Legend figures. It's just a good figure.
Yeah, the was it Disney Plus series?
Yeah.
Apparently, it was kind of Massimino, not so great, but the figures were really good. And kind of like with the Eternals, they're on the clearance aisle, and if you're a customizer, some great parts there. So definitely something to keep in mind. Ian has a question for the Epic Badger. What type of paints would you recommend for painting figures? And yeah, he's thinking the 3.75 or 1/18 scale.
So
I personally use Viejo for a lot
Mhm.
of my painting for those, and then put a nice lacquer or varnish to hold the paint in place. But you're still going to end up with some chipping at any of the joints. So something to be careful of. Jesse, what do you use?
so Will might be able to better answer this since he's asking about 3 3/4. For my 6-inch, I use just basic acrylic paints, nothing fancy, just what I get at Walmart or Michael's. More lately, I've been using this Artist Loft because it's more of a medium. What do you call it? Viscosity.
Okay, and it's
So-
water based, I'm assuming.
This one. Ooh, I forgot. I don't think it is highly pigmented. Clean.
Because I've worked with some oils, and they're really hard to work with. But the
No.
water based acrylics seem to be a little better for plastics.
Yeah. Now the problem I have, so like with 6-inch figures, it's a very soft plastic, so the paint tends to stick better. I tried painting GI Joes before, like your vintage GI Joes. That's such a hard plastic, and it's so smooth that there's no surface. There's nothing for that paint to grab onto. So you have to apply a primer to get some tension on there, some texture. Otherwise, the paint it might stick, but it may not stick very well. That's the problem I've had with 3 3/4 scale. But 6-inch, it's a softer plastic that holds the paint much better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you'd have to probably go to some of the Facebook groups or some of the
Yeah, as a
other
matter of
groups
fact,
out
I
there
think
and-
on Articulated Chad show, he had Matt LaCroix on, who is a wonderful customizer. And the question was asked in his live stream, and this was just Sunday night, I think. But what they were saying is, for the most part, for like 1/18 scale painting, what you want to do is use an acrylic. Don't use any kind of enamels or anything like that. They won't react well with the plastic.
Right.
Prime your parts, take them apart, sand your joints, and thin that paint and do many, many layers. It requires a lot of patience, and that it seems to be the consensus, all around. But yeah.
My best customs are layered. It's very I when you touch in paint, wipe a little bit off on a paper towel, and you just put a real thin layer on, and you just have to get used to putting on a few layers, and it's going to take a while.
Mhm.
If you slap on just too much, it dries, and that's where you get the bubbles. That's where you get, all that weird texture. You just have to play it real thin and just do it multiple times, and that's where you get the best result.
Fair enough. For Mandalorian variants, I'd probably recommend checking out what's going on with Marauder, because I think Marauder did a Mandalorian style helmet for their 4-inch line, their customizables.
Oh, I've never seen that. Yeah, that's interesting.
That might be a way to go. I know Gridiron has done it for the 6-inch. I don't know if they're doing the 1/18 scale, but they also do some custom bits. So there's stuff out there. Be very interesting to see what you come up with, Ian. So definitely look into that. What else we got in the bag here? Yeah, we got to talk about the food. Now, this is from your Badger Confections days, and that's your hungry little badger with a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yep. So I sold at farmers markets and just holiday markets in Wyoming, because in Wyoming we have the Food Freedom Act, which is you can sell food at local events. You can't sell them through a store, but you could go to farmers markets and events, or you could sell them out of your kitchen. There's no license. You don't have to register as a company. But basically, the Food Freedom Act says you can sell directly to an individual, not through a store, and it's on the buyer to take the responsibility.
Right.
I think if there were cases, and I don't know the laws too well, but if there were cases where like things were intentionally done, or sanitation was really an issue, they might be able to still sue somebody. But at least it's in state law, the way it's set up is the majority of the time you're going to be covered as a seller, as long as you didn't do anything intentional.
You set up a lemonade stand, they're not coming to look for the permit.
Yeah, it's more common sense kind of stuff. That's cool. It's neat that you're able to do that.
Yeah, and so I sold, farmers markets in the summer, or not, in the fall. And then in the winter, there was always holiday markets. This really nice couple, they basically had a second room in their home. And for like 3 days, they would have their back door open and people could just go into that room and buy from them. They keep a little bit of the money and then they give you a share of the money. But there was a lot of holiday markets at the Elk Lodge and other places like that. So I sold a lot during the holidays.
What was your most popular thing? Cookies, brownies? Fudge.
Yeah. Because what you pay at any store for fudge is a ripoff. It is cheap to make. It's easy to make. And you shouldn't be paying that much for a brick of fudge. So I was selling bricks for like half of what anyone else was selling, because I'm not running a store where I'm not
checking my mailbox every day, and there's no Badger cookies in it, and I keep trying.
Well, if you're gonna send a care package, you got to send one to Goji, because he wants some Badger cookies too.
Yeah, and I will tell you, peanut butter fudge is the big seller.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. People love peanut butter fudge.
Very cool.
I tried truffles, which is what you see in the lower right, and right there on that picture too. People like the truffles, but I think they're just seen as a little too bourgeoisie.
They're a little snooty when you get into the truffle territory.
People would buy one or two, but they wouldn't buy very many.
They're kind of rich too. I don't think you can eat too many in one sitting.
Yeah.
And I see a few ingredients here. Is there anything special you put into your baking goods? Do you have specialty spices or whatnot?
So with fudge and chocolates in general, you need to avoid water because you don't want the chocolate to seize. So I use oils for flavor. Whenever I do something for flavor, I try to incorporate two of the same type of flavor in a different medium. So, for example, the cinnamon and orange fudge, it's a holiday fudge. I have cinnamon, real cinnamon, and orange juice powder. And then I have cinnamon and orange oils.
That's what's in the little vials there.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Just simple Loran oils. And so you get two types of cinnamon, two types of orange. But anytime I bake with a flavor, I want to get two different mediums of that flavor so you get a richer experience with that one flavor.
I've never had that combo.
And they both avoid water because, oil doesn't have water in it, neither does the powder. So I don't worry about the chocolate seizing.
Interesting. Now, when you say seizing, for those of us who aren't bakers, what does that mean?
You have liquid chocolate that you've melted, water touches it, and it causes the crystals to just... Because when you melt chocolate, you're breaking down the
bonds,
I'm totally
the cohesiveness,
on everything right now. The sugar molecules are breaking down. If water touches it, the sugar molecules suddenly grab at each other.
Okay.
And it hardens and it seizes up.
And then you don't get the consistency you
And
want
that's
for your fudge.
yeah. And that's where
Okay.
if you get water into your fudge, or you get too much sugar on the side, you need to make sure you have some grease or oil on the sides while you're making fudge. Because if any sugar sticks to the side and gets back in and it seizes, when you bite into that fudge, you're gonna taste the granules.
Okay.
Because the sugar has come back together. So
You want it to stay
you want to make
smooth.
sure that you get that, you keep it so that the sugar doesn't do that.
Interesting. Rolo's impressed. He's digging it. But I think you had him at candy. He's loving the candy. So what got you into baking? Was this something that you picked up as a hobby, or was it out of necessity to just to eat? Or
I think going to college was the big reason.
yeah, you
Because
got tired of ramen.
my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She baked, and I never thought too much of the baking because I always had access to it. My friends didn't have that. I guess their parents didn't bake too often. So people wanted to come to my house because they wanted to try my mom's baking. And when I went to college, I didn't have access to it. I had to go buy stuff from Safeway or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
So if
then-
you've had homemade, you can't handle store bought. It just doesn't dig it.
So when I got my first place out of the dorms after like freshman year, I moved into an apartment with some friends. And it was like the first thing I did was I made like big batches of like spaghetti and chili and stuff, things that you could eat for a week. Because the cost of living goes so much lower when you're not living in the dormitories.
Really?
Oh yeah, they overcharge for the rooms, they overcharge for the food.
Wow.
And I get it. They have staff, they have standards, they have to do all this stuff, whatever. But when you live on your own, you can. The cost is so much cheaper. But then I was like, I want to make baked goods, and so I would remember what my mom had made, and I would call her up, and she'd explain things to me, and then I just kept baking and baking and baking.
Very cool.
And as the years went on, and I had a full-time job, and I was, I had income. It was like, I'm gonna bake everything.
Yeah. So I see here you've got some pizza, you got some breads, you've got some pastries. So it's all just kind of trial and error, or family recipes, or
it's recipes I find online, but you have to modify some of them. Like
for the altitude.
Yeah. So in Laramie, we were at 7,200 feet. So quite high. Denver area is around 5,000 feet. So at that, you imagine air around you that you can't see, it has a weight to it.
Yeah, that's trippy.
Per volume. And at sea level, you have all that air above you, and that is air pressure. And when you are trying to have something delicate with a batter rise, it's pushing up against that very delicate air pressure that you can't see it, but there's a ton of it because you're at sea level, and so there's that much more. So that's why you need to add like leavening agents, that interacts with the ingredients to create gas, and then that gas pushes up the baked good until it fully bakes, and that's how you get things to rise at low altitude. At high altitude, your air pressure, because you're so much higher up, there's less of it at any given time. So you stick something in the oven, it just rises quickly anyway because it's not fighting with so much air pressure.
Right.
So
yeah, Goji's saying most mass-produced American candies and baked goods taste like garbage. They're just
I always knew that, but when I went to the UK, I discovered that. I only, if I eat candy, it's only Cadbury or Galaxy or Lion bars and whatever.
Right. Speaking of the UK, Ian, it's way late for you, so catch the rest of us on the replay. God bless. Have a good night. But yeah, British chocolate is much better. I remember that when I lived in Scotland and I tried the chocolates over there. Oh my goodness, so much better.
Yeah, the other challenge I have to face at this altitude and in the Rockies is our air is dry. We do not have that thing that Will has swirling around him at any time.
The humidity.
Yeah, humidity.
Jimmy, I got to tell you, buddy, you got to tune in Thursday. If you like the cinnamon bears, we're going to be doing some Easter candy, talking with Zazel from Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse. So you'll definitely like that. We'll continue the confectionery goodness on Thursday over there. So just saying.
Mhm.
But which one do you think you enjoy more once you figure out the chemistry and the altitude and everything? Do you prefer doing breads? Do you prefer doing more desserts? Or just depend on your mood?
The mood. I think it's so hard. Nothing beats a chocolate mousse pie.
Ooh,
But when you make
Yeah.
homemade cinnamon rolls on a Saturday morning,
Oh,
it's just you can't beat it. And pizzas, I do in a skillet, or not in the skillet, a cast iron skillet.
nice.
And it's the best flavor. But honestly, I like cookies because it takes like 10 minutes to whip them up, and then you just throw them in the oven, and you got cookies.
yeah, it's instant gratification. Plus, it makes the whole house smell really good.
Yeah.
I love the
And
smell of
the
The
baking cookies.
medium, like what you put in the cookies, can change. Like, do I want chocolate chips or Reese's like candy
Nice.
or whatever? You just throw
Yeah.
whatever you want in them.
Rolo makes a good point. Cooking keeps you down to earth. It's very zen. I mean, it can be very relaxing if you enjoy it. It can be a nightmare if you don't enjoy it. I'm not a great cook. I like to tinker, but most people don't like to eat what I cook, and I don't blame them. But he used to cook after night shift or after working the ambulance just so he could give his full attention to the cooking and kind of relax after a hard day. I can understand that. And yeah, I'm right there with you, Jimmy. I love German chocolate. It's good. German chocolate's very good. But the
I agree.
Scottish chocolate was pretty good too. It's
I agree with
different
the-
flavor.
I agree with the dark chocolate. I've been
Yeah.
snacking on 85% Colombian cocoa chocolate.
Yeah. That's one thing I learned when I came here to Guatemala because they make a lot of really good fresh chocolate. The cacao, how much of a percentage you have, totally tastes so much better. I like about a 70%. It's dark, it's a little bitter, but wow, just so much better than what you get in America. So definitely, when you're buying exotic chocolates, look for the cacao ratio.
Yeah.
And that'll definitely tell you what kind of flavor you're going to get. And what do we got here? My mother taught me and my brothers to cook. Yeah, that's a great skill. You used to tell us, don't get married just because you're lazy. Yeah, that's fair. You don't need a woman to cook for you. If you can cook, you are well on your way to having a happy bachelor life.
Yeah, and I'm never short on baking. I that's why I have coworkers, is so I could throw my food at them and not get mad on all the food.
Yeah, so there's always people at work that are willing to test your wares. So that's you have a good variety of palettes to experiment with. That's very cool. World Made of Cardboard says there's a British gift shop around here they call British Emporium. Got my first taste of British candy and chocolates. Nice. So yeah, it is. It's much better than American. I'm not sure what the double decker is, but I'm curious.
It's the best.
Yeah?
I can't describe it, but it's oh geez. I'll have to send you an image.
Okay.
It's this crunchy malty material. In between layers of chocolate and nougat, and it's amazing.
Oh, that sounds good. And yeah, Mexican chocolate, they do a lot of their chocolates. They mix coffee in, whether it's just the roasted coffee bean or just a coffee grounded flavoring. It's really nice. Their chocolate is also really good. Kind of chalky. It's a different consistency, but great flavor. Especially good if you're making hot chocolate. You can take the chocolate from Mexico and make a beautiful hot chocolate with that. And hi, Will. I meant to say hi, Radical Toys. Hi, Adam. Good to see you, buddy. And Joneser's in the house. Hey, Joneser. Good to see you. We're talking goodies, yummies. So
It's making me hungry.
yeah, I'm curious about the double decker. I'm not familiar with that. I got to check that out.
Oh, it's so good. What's also helpful for me when I want to expand outside of American baking is I work with international students. So like I experiment all the time and I ask them for their input. So like one of my a cookie that my office really likes is a chocolate cookie with chili powder. It's chocolate and chili
Interesting.
go well together. I've also
sound-
made
yeah.
I also make tres leches because my students from South or Central America and Mexico really love tres leches. I've done Argentina cakes. It's great to have these students who could be like, oh, you should try this. What is that? Oh, here's a recipe. Go try it.
Yeah, and I agree with the World Made of Cardboard. As much as I love Tom Baker's Doctor Who and the Jelly Babies, they are a bit sweet. They're definitely not the same as gummy bears that we see around here. Yeah, the British Jelly Babies are a very different flavor, but they're worth trying if you haven't. And let's see, Mr. Salzberg says you need the Jelly Babies with the liqueur, the offset the sweet. That does sound good. Speaking of liquor with your confectionaries, I think I've got them around here somewhere. Maybe I ate them all. My wife picked me up when she was over in Mexico. It might be behind my monitor. I've got too much junk on my desk. Here we go. Yeah, these are yummy, and I have to be careful not to eat too many in one sitting. Johnny Walker with chocolate. So
wow.
Yeah, you've got some really nice Scotch whiskey blended with a dark chocolate, and
that sounds good.
I'm about halfway through the container, so I'm going to have to make another run. But those are nice. So, yeah, liquor and chocolate go well together. I don't know why, they just do.
So Motu Joneser brings up something I was just thinking about recently. Because he mentions the best carne asada burritos are in San Diego, which
that's true.
I don't doubt. If you want a good place to go eat, look for where the construction workers go. Because there's in Laramie, Wyoming, there's a Mexican restaurant, and everyone speaks Spanish behind the counter, and all the construction guys go in there. So it's like, oh, that must be really filling.
Yeah.
The California burrito is just French fries and steak, cheddar and sour cream. And it's like, this is what I could live on. It's not healthy.
Oh yeah. But when I lived in Oxnard, California for a while, and you'd go to the taco truck, the local vendors, and when you'd order the carne asada burrito, that thing is almost as big around as your forearm. They're huge and chock full, and oh man, they're so good.
I've recently taco trucks, been making a lot of pupusas.
Okay,
my students taught me how to make them, and I like them because they're super cheap and easy to make, and you can make a lot.
Now, that's more Salvadoran cuisine?
El Salvador, but they've become popular in Mexico because so many El Salvadorans have migrated to Mexico.
Right.
And then also because they've migrated to the U.S., we're seeing pupusa shops around this country too.
Yeah. Yeah, Jones are saying, they're about the size of your arm. They are good. Jimmy brings up a good point. Chocolate and red wine go really well together. That's true. Great for the palate. Chocolate and brandy, too. I like that combo. And what else we got? Oh, in Pittsburgh, there's a joint that makes. We have a joint in Pittsburgh that makes the shutter. It's an amazing sandwich. Okay. Interesting. I do remember a place when I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. They made one called the Great American Disaster because it is so much cholesterol. It's fried egg and beef patty and cheese and then more. It's just, it's a heart attack waiting to happen, but so good. Yeah, you can't go wrong with some of these foodie things out there. But
so I think James was saying it's the Schmitter and not the Shutter.
Oh, the Schmitter. Okay.
The Schmitter.
Okay, yeah, that's a correction. Schmitter. Yes. That sounds interesting. And very Pennsylvania Dutch. Beyond the food, let's talk our four-legged friends. Now, you are a friend of the Black Dog Animal Rescue. And they're in Cheyenne, I believe, where they're based?
They're located or headquartered in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And the term black dog isn't referring to the coat.
Right.
Well, it originally did. The term black dogs tend to not get adopted at the same rate of other colors. But also the term black dog is kind of like black sheep. Dogs that people don't typically want anymore.
It's
So
sad.
this is a society where they don't want dogs to go to
Shelters.
shelters, to
Right.
pounds. So what they do is they collect money, and then they find people to take dogs in temporarily until they find them forever homes.
Nice.
So if a dog gets if you contact them and say, I really can't take care of this dog anymore, a lot of them are ranch dogs.
Right.
Ranchers will pick up puppies because there's puppies at every Murdoch's and ranch store, and ranchers will pick them up. And if they don't work out as work dogs, the ranchers don't want them.
Right. And James makes a good point. Black cats don't get adopted as easily either for
Yep.
some reason. And Black Dog Animal Rescue does cats and dogs.
Yes.
Just to point that out.
Yep. So they take the dogs that people just don't want. A lot of it's dogs from ranches or small towns where people, puppies are birthed in many numbers and people don't know what to do with them. So they don't want them to go to a shelter. So they don't want them to get killed or anything. So they find fosters who will take them in. They'll provide you with food. They'll provide you with the clinical support. So you don't have to do it all on your own. And then until they find someone to adopt the dog fully, and then you take on another dog as a foster.
That's a very cool idea because it calms the dog. It gives them a home environment. They don't like the shelters. They don't like the cages and stuff. So it makes more sense, especially if they've already been socialized.
Yeah. And
it's a better way to do it.
Lucy's litter, some of them made their way to Black Dog. I remember I was at a 4th of July celebration. I think Lucy was a year and a half or 2 years old. And there was a dog. I picked her out of her litter when she was 2 weeks old.
Wow.
And there was a dog who I recognized immediately as one of that litter. So I know a lot of those ranchers in Rock River, Wyoming picked up that litter, and Lucy cannot work. She's high energy, but she's too unfocused.
Yeah.
Because she's so many mixed breeds. She's I think she was Australian Shepherd, Border Collie, and Blue Heeler. And tons of energy, but they can't get work done. They're not reliable.
Sense. Yeah.
So I know that a lot of her brothers and sisters likely got brought over to Black Dog Animal Rescue.
Right. It's like the Australian Shepherd and the Blue Heeler? Those are the breeds that make really good work dogs.
Well,
but all mine are rescues
do.
like Jones and they're all Heinz 57. They're mutts. All of them.
Yeah. They're all good cattle dogs. It's just you mix them up too much, you get a dog that's only energy and no focus.
But they're good pets. I mean, they're very
lovable. A lot of these ranchers don't want pets. Or because people in Wyoming don't spay or neuter very well, a lot of them just end up at ranch stores where families are giving puppies away, and then the families adopt them and then realize, well, we don't want a dog. So then they take this 6-month-old dog to Black Dog Animal Rescue.
It's hard to resist the puppy. Yeah. You see the puppy and you're like, oh, I want this puppy.
When I adopted Lucy, she came from a very, very, very Catholic family. I think that family had 8 children. And the mother dog, had the first litter that Lucy came from. And there were, I think, 7 or 8 puppies in that litter. That mom went on to have 3 more litters.
Wow.
People just don't spay and neuter out there.
Yeah, and it's so important. Bob Barker used to say that on The Price is Right a lot, and there's a reason for it. If you're going to have a pet and you don't want a litter of, spay and neuter your pets.
Yeah.
It's better for them. It's better for you.
And when you're in Cheyenne being the city of Wyoming, it's only 60,000 people, but it's a city.
Sure.
They, instead of ranch dogs, they tend to have more problems with like pit bulls and other dogs that you would see common in cities where people don't want them anymore. They just want guard dogs or whatever.
Yeah, that's something that just really irritates me. And it's prevalent here in Guatemala as well. People want a dog to use as a cheap security system, but they don't love their dogs. They don't maintain their dogs. They let them roam free. And it's just, to me, dogs are family. They live in the house with me. And my neighbors are like, why is your dog in the house? It's like, because it's part of my family. I'd rather have him in the house than you, knucklehead.
So the back of my car, you fold the seats down, and I have like a tarp and then 2 blankets. I've only ever had those back seats up once in 12 years. Well, I had 2 cars in those 12 years. But both times, like after I didn't have Lucy anymore this November, I lifted those seats up and they were so clean because that's where my dog was when she traveled with me, was in the back seat of that car. My whole life was dedicated to, I didn't go very far. I was home every night because I have to take her out. She has to go for 5 to 20 walks a day.
Oh yeah. Well, and dogs, they definitely need attention. They're like having another kid.
Yeah.
World Made of Cardboard, thanks for showing up. We're running a little late tonight, but we're having fun. So have a good night. And Salzburg says he sells a lot of pet hammocks at work. That sounds interesting. I have seen the beds that are kind of like a canvas stretch that it's very comfortable for the dogs, easy on the bones, and it lets some air in. I bet the hammock idea would work. I've never seen a dog get into a hammock. That would be curious. I'm guessing it's a special kind of hammock. I have trouble getting in and out of a hammock. I can't imagine having 4 legs and trying to do it. And yeah, dogs are great security. I use my dogs as kind of like personal BS detectors. If somebody comes to my house and my dog doesn't like them, I'm probably not going to like them either. My dog is a very good judge of character, beyond chasing the squirrels and geckos and whatever else. We got a lot of wild creatures here that my dogs keep at bay.
Yeah.
So
when I first met my wife, she had the first time I came to my wife's apartment, she had what I didn't know. I did not know that her cat was a complete psycho. I walk into her house and she doesn't warn me or anything. And the cat goes up on the back of the kitchen chair and like arches her back. And I just reach over and I give her a little tickle, a little pet, and she just runs away. And my wife's jaw drops. And she's like, what the hell?
That cat doesn't like anybody.
Yeah. So I passed the cat test.
It's an animal magnetism, Will.
Firsthand, that cat jumped on my sister-in-law's face one time. Ambushed her. I mean, sat on top of a dresser. She walked in the room and jumped. That cat hated everyone. So I saw the viciousness.
But you got the better end of that. Okay, so these are hammocks to put in your Jeep for your animal. That sounds cool. I'd like to see one of those. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, unfortunately, cool. Lucy was the type of dog who she loved humans. She knew humans were good because she's always been around humans who were good to her. She would, if she got out of the yard, she would go straight up to the first human. And of course, they'd bring her back or whatever. She was sneaky. But she would leave me in a heartbeat if someone was like, come here, puppy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that can be good. It can be bad. But fortunately, there's a lot of dog lovers out there that are kind to animals.
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick plug for Black Dog Animal Rescue. They do some great work. Their website is in the description below. If you are so inclined, you can donate to them. You can check them out. I would highly recommend it, or any local shelter in your area. They need some love. They always need financial support, and it's a good way to go. If you're looking for a pet, try an animal shelter or rescue before you go to a puppy mill. I don't recommend those at all. They don't take care of their animals well. It's not a great practice. And there's plenty of dogs out there that need love that are in these shelters. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. But we've ran almost to the 2-hour mark, guys. We are having a great time tonight talking about, some great cuisine and some 4-legged friends, some custom toys, kind of ran the gambit, and very cool
really
stuff.
Made me hungry, so I'm gonna go get something to eat after this for sure.
Yeah, I might go make some pumpkin chocolate cookies after this.
Yeah, this is the Black Dog Animal Rescue website that Will was kind enough to put in the chat. Like I said, it's in the description below also for this video.
And they do have some, if you look at their website, they do match donations up to certain tiers.
Okay.
There are certain companies in Wyoming who, if you donate 20, they'll donate 20 or whatever that is.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely got to look into that. I appreciate that, Eddie. Can't go wrong with any of these topics. Yeah, we're having fun tonight. This is what I like about
Yeah.
the lounge. It's, we talk toys and a lot of the stuff we do, but I like seeing other people's interests that are beyond the plastic goodness. And Jesse's definitely a great example of that with his varied tastes in cooking and woodcraft and whatnot. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
were able to come and
I
be a
believe
guest
he
with us
deserves
tonight.
an award for the most reuses of Scarlet of anyone, and
Yeah.
just a Redeemer award for redeeming the otherwise terrible toy line. That
Can't argue with
Yeah.
that. You've definitely got some mileage out of that figure.
we
And we're
worked
always,
some magic there. Yeah,
yes. So please check out Jesse's Instagram and his YouTube. There's some great videos there of his toy photography. And some of his baked goods, I think, show up there as well. So if you're looking for something to get your mouth watering, you can see some of the photography of food, which is always a good thing.
okay.
So, guys, I'm hungry too. I'm going to go grab something. So let's call it a night. It's been fun. It's been real. It's even been real fun. Any parting shots? Anything you guys want to plug tonight before we head out?
No, just go check out Jesse on Instagram and his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having me on. It's always good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, it's great. It's I adore Jesse, and now I hope everyone else can see why. Because everything he has is pretty awesome. Even if it's not something I collect personally, I share in his joy for what he does there. So
Very cool.
It's really fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate my guests, my co-host, and Eduardo has been really quiet tonight. He's on his best behavior. So who knows? I don't want to jinx it. I'll just play us out. Have a good night, everybody.
One more time before you go.
Hmm?
Can you see the Badger one more time before you go? He always makes me smile. There he is.
There he is.
Good
night, Badger.
Good night, Jesse. Awesome time.
See y'all.
Have a great night, everyone.